In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum students. I am your English teacher Aysha Shahzad. I welcome you all to the online classes of Divisional Public School and Inter-College Sahiwal. Today our topic is correction of common errors in the use of tenses. In this lecture, we shall review your previous knowledge about tenses. Then we shall discuss the rules for the correction of errors with a few practice examples. As you know, there are three tenses in English: past, present and future. They have four aspects: simple, continuous, perfect and perfect continuous. So we have 12 tenses in English. Let's have a look at them. Present indefinite tense is used to show a habitual action, custom, routine, habit, facts or universal truth. We use first form of verb in this tense. As you can see the examples, she travels to school by bus. We invite our relatives on every Eid. The school starts at 8 a.m. The sun rises in the east. We start an interrogative sentence with an auxiliary verb do or does. As you can see the example, does she travel to school by bus? Do we invite our relatives on every Eid? In a negative sentence of present indefinite tense, we use not after the auxiliary verb do or does. As you can see in the example, she does not travel to school by bus. We do not invite our relatives on every Eid. Present continuous tense is used to show the actions happening now, temporary activities or changes. We don't know when the action started or when it will be over. We use the auxiliary verb is, are, am and ing form of verb in this tense. As you can see in the examples, you are watching a lecture on tenses. I am writing a letter. The sweeper is cleaning the school. The interrogative sentence of present continuous tense starts with the auxiliary verb is, are, am. As you can see the examples, are you watching a lecture on tenses? Is the sweeper cleaning the school? In the negative sentences, we use not after the auxiliary verb. I am not writing a letter. The sweeper is not cleaning the school. Present perfect tense is used to show experiences or recent events which have taken place just, yet or already. This tense shows that we have gone through that time when the event has taken place and the action has been completed at the time of speaking. We use the auxiliary verb has or have with third form of verb in this tense. As you can see in the examples, I have washed a lot of plates. She has lost her pen. You have finished your breakfast. We start an interrogative sentence with the auxiliary verb has or have. As you can see the examples, have you washed a lot of plates? Has she lost her pen? In the negative sentences, we use not after the auxiliary verb has or have. I have not washed these plates. She has not lost her pen. Present perfect continuous tense refers to an action that started in the past but is still going on at the moment of speaking. These actions are usually indicated by the use of since, for, or lately. We use has been and have been with ing form of verb in this tense. As you can see in the examples, it has been raining for 2 hours. She has been attending lectures since 10 a.m. I have been living in this house since 2019. Since is used to describe the starting point of the action, like 9 a.m. Monday, January 2020. For is used to describe the amount of time, like seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, or years. We start an interrogative sentence with the auxiliary verb has and have. As you can see in the example, has it been raining for 2 hours? And in the negative sentence, we use not after the auxiliary verb has or have. I have not been living in this house since 2019. Past indefinite tense refers to the actions completed in the past on a fixed time, like on Monday, last year, in December 2019, in the morning, etc. An occasional action or any habitual action in the past. We use second form of verb in the affirmative sentences, and we use the auxiliary verb did in the interrogative and negative sentences. As you can see in the examples, I attended Sarah's wedding last Sunday. She spoke for 2 hours on that topic. My father built this house in 1990. She came from Lahore yesterday. We start an interrogative sentence with the auxiliary verb did. Did she speak for 2 hours on that topic? Did my father build this house in 1990? In negative sentences, we use did not before the first form of verb. As you can see in the example, she did not come from Lahore yesterday. I did not attend Sarah's wedding last Sunday. This is the only tense in which we change the form of verb in interrogative and negative sentences. Past continuous tense refers to an unfinished ongoing action for a period of time in the past. We use the auxiliary verb was or were and ing form of verb in this tense. As you can see in the examples, I was having dinner when the doorbell rang. It was raining when I left for school. She was making pancakes when I entered the kitchen. They were playing hide and seek. We start an interrogative sentence with the auxiliary verb was or were. Was she making pancakes? Were they playing hide and seek? In the negative sentences, we use not after the auxiliary verb was or were. As you can see in the examples, it was not raining when I left for school. I was not having dinner when the doorbell rang. Past perfect tense refers to an action completed at some point in the past before another action has begun. While using the past perfect tense, two actions, one following the other, are indicated. We use had and third form of verb in this tense. As you can see in the examples, the boys had hidden the crackers before the teacher entered the class. We use past perfect tense in the main clause, and we use past indefinite tense in the subordinate clause. You can see the second example. She had finished her homework before the guests arrived. In the interrogative sentence, we start it with the auxiliary verb had. Had the boys hidden the crackers when the teacher entered the class? In the negative sentence, we use not after the auxiliary verb and before the verb. As you can see in the example, she had not finished her homework when the guests arrived. Past perfect continuous tense is used to express an action that was going on for a period of time in the past and which is related to some other event or action in the past. The second event or action may be stated or may be implied. We use had been and ing form of verb in this tense. As you can see in the examples, I had been teaching in the school since 2011. They had been visiting Murray Hills for the last 10 years. The interrogative sentence starts with the auxiliary verb had. As you can see in the example, had they been visiting Murray Hills for the last 10 years? In the negative sentence, we use not after the auxiliary verb have. You can see the example. I have not been teaching in this school since 2011. As I told you earlier, we use for the amount of time and since to describe the starting point. Future indefinite tense refers to the event or action that are yet to happen or will happen in the time to come. This tense indicates instant decisions, intentions, offers, or promises. We use will and shall with first form of verb. As you can see in the examples, tomorrow I shall leave for Karachi. They will clean this room. I will get you a brand new car. The interrogative sentence starts with the auxiliary verb will or shall. As you can see in the examples, shall I leave for Karachi? Will you clean this room? In the negative sentences, we use not after the auxiliary verb will or shall. They will not clean the room. I will not get you a brand new car. Future continuous tense refers to an action that will go on for some time in the future. This tense is used to indicate any planning or progress in future. We use will be or shall be with ing form of verb. As you can see in the examples, he will be doing his PhD from America. The guests will be visiting us in half an hour. In the interrogative sentences, we use will or shall at the beginning of the sentence. Will he be doing his PhD from America? Will the guests be visiting us in half an hour? In the negative sentence, we use not after the auxiliary verb will or shall. He will not be doing his PhD from America. The guests will not be visiting us in half an hour. Future perfect tense refers to an action that will be completed before or by a specific time in the future. We use will have or shall have with third form of verb in this tense. As you can see in the examples, by tomorrow he will have submitted his assignment. By January, the students will have learnt the complete syllabus. The interrogative sentence starts with the auxiliary verb will or shall. Will he have submitted his assignment by tomorrow? Will the students have learnt the complete syllabus by January? In the negative sentence, we use not after the auxiliary verb will or shall. As you can see in the examples, he will not have submitted his assignment by tomorrow. The students will not have learnt the complete syllabus by January. Future perfect continuous tense. Both these tenses are uncommon and rarely used in daily conversation. This tense refers to an action that will continue in the future up to a specific time. We use will have been or shall have been with third form of verb in this tense. As you can see in the examples, by January 2021, the students will have been attending online lectures for 6 weeks. By the end of this week, he will have been painting this house. The interrogative sentence starts with will or shall. As you can see in the examples, will the students have been attending online lectures for 6 weeks by January 2021? In the negative sentence, we use not after the auxiliary verb will or shall. He will not have been painting this house by the end of this week. Let's discuss rules for the correction of a few common errors in the use of tenses. First, look at example number 1. He said that he goes to college daily is an incorrect sentence. The reason is that a compound sentence has two independent clauses with individual finite verb. The past tense follows past tense. So the correct example is he said that he went to college daily. In the second example, he said that he will go to college daily is also incorrect. The correct example is he said that he would go to college daily. The reason is the same, that the past tense should follow past tense. The third example is the teacher said that honesty was the best policy is incorrect. As you know, we cannot change the tense of a universal truth even if it follows the past tense. So the correct example is the teacher said that honesty is the best policy. Rule number 2 is we start an interrogative sentence with the auxiliary verb. Just have a look at the examples of present tense. Why you laugh at the poor is incorrect because it is not starting with the auxiliary verb. The correct example is why do you laugh at the poor? Similarly, where he goes every evening is incorrect. The correct sentence is where does he go every evening? So we have to start the interrogative sentence with the auxiliary verb do or does. Just look at the examples of past tense. Let's have a look at the examples of past tense. The first example, where you went yesterday. is incorrect because it is not starting with the auxiliary verb. The correct sentence is, where did you go yesterday? Because it is starting with the auxiliary verb did. Why you wrote him such a letter is incorrect. The correct sentence is, why did you write him such a letter? Rule number 3 is, we shall use the perfect continuous tenses only if the action is bound with the amount of time, like for seconds, for minutes, for hours, for days, for weeks, for months, or years, etc., and the beginning point, like since 9 a.m., since Monday, since December 2020, etc. We shall use has been, have been, or had been to describe such actions. As you can see the examples of present tense, he is ill since 3 days is an incorrect sentence because when we say since 3 days, we shall use present perfect tense. So the correct example is, he has been ill for 3 days. Similarly, the next sentence, students are on strike since Monday, is incorrect because we should use have been in place of are. So the correct example is, students have been on strike since Monday. The examples in the past are, they were studying there since Monday. It is an incorrect sentence because we should say had been studying there in spite of were studying because we are using since Monday. The correct example is, they had been studying there since Monday. He was going on for a long time is an incorrect sentence because we should use had been here. The correct example is, this had been going on for a long time. Rule number 4 is, we use past indefinite tense if the action is done in the past on a fixed time, like yesterday, a specific time ago, on a particular time of the day, week, month, or the year, like in September, on Monday, in 2020, last week, last month, last year, in the morning, etc. As you can see in the examples, I have written him a letter yesterday is incorrect because yesterday is a fixed time. We should use past indefinite tense here. The correct example is, I wrote him a letter yesterday. He had met me 3 years ago is an incorrect sentence because 3 years ago is a fixed time. So we should use past indefinite tense here. The correct example is, he met me 3 years ago. I had not written him a letter this morning is incorrect because this morning is a fixed time. So the correct example is, I did not write him a letter this morning. Have you written him a letter last week? This sentence is incorrect because if we say last week, it is a fixed time. So we should say, did you write him a letter last week? Rule number 5 is, the complex sentence has 2 clauses, the main clause or subordinating clause. If the main clause is interrogative, the subordinating clause cannot be interrogative. As you can see in the examples, I asked her, where does she live? Is incorrect. The reason is that the main clause, he asked me, stands as a question. So the question should be told as a statement after the conjunction which, where or when. Moreover, we don't need to use any other conjunction in the presence of which, where or when. So the use of that is incorrect in the example. The correct sentence is, I asked her where she lived. The second example is, he asked me that what was I doing, is also incorrect, because we should say he asked me what I was doing. We should not use that. Rule number 6 is about the conditional sentences. In the conditional sentences of future, we use present in conditional clause while we use simple future tense in the main clause. As you can see in the examples, if I shall go to Lahore, I shall bring new books for you, is incorrect, because we have used future indefinite tense in both the clauses, which is incorrect. The correct example is, if I go to Lahore, I shall bring new books for you. When he will come to me, I shall help him, is incorrect, because we should use present indefinite tense in the conditional clause. When he comes to me, I shall help him. In conditional sentences of past, we use past perfect tense in conditional clause, while we use would have and third form of verb in the main clause. As you can see in the examples, if he helped me, I would have succeeded, is incorrect. We should use if he had helped me in the conditional clause, and then we should use I would have succeeded in the main clause. Had he helped me, I had succeeded, is incorrect. If we use the conditional clause had he helped me, we should use I would have succeeded in the main clause. This is the correct example. Rule number 7 is, in the past perfect tense, we use perfect tense in the main clause while we use simple past tense in the subordinating clause, which starts with when or before. As you can see in the examples, the sun set before we reached home, is incorrect. The sun had set before we reached home. Here we have used the perfect tense in the main clause and we used past indefinite tense in the subordinate clause before we reached home. In the second example, you can see he left for Karachi, is incorrect. When I reached this place, we should use he had left for Karachi when I reached this place. This is a correct example. When we reached the college, the class started, is incorrect. We should say when we reached the college, the class had started. At the end of this lecture, I hope you are able to identify and correct such common errors in the use of tenses. As you all know, practice makes a man perfect. So I have an assignment for you to rewrite the following sentences after due correction. Thank you very much for being attentive. Allah Hafiz.